ready for hot takes and insight from local industry experts in real estate, business, and lifestyle. He used to play ball with the Padres. He played hockey for the Lobos. Now they're crushing it in the real estate game. Together, they'll showcase the best of the Duke City. This is All About You, ABQ.
Oh, that's right. It's all about you, ABQ. Now, the goal of the show is to highlight the best of our city's industry experts in real estate, culture, lifestyle, so that you walk away with some value and feeling inspired. Now, the way that we like to do that is to answer the questions you may have or interview the guests that you want to see. So we invite you to join the conversation. You can reach out using the hashtag up here or join our email list to get some timely tips about our community and real estate market. Hey, I'm Skip Adams, owner of Sold by Skip Real Estate Brokerage here in Albuquerque.
Grant Harvey, Vision Mortgage Home Loan Expert.
Now, you may recognize Grant as the head coach of the University of New Mexico men's Lobo hockey team. Now he's absolutely crushing it and losing weight at Vision Mortgage.
Yeah, you may have seen Skip at HGTV's House Hunters, and he's part of the top 2 producing real estate agents, top 2% producing real estate agents in the city, and he's gaining all my weight.
Yeah, well, it's teamwork, dude. Teamwork and making these dreams work. Here's why you're going to want to stay tuned. We're joined by David Meyers and Larry Espinoza of Imagine ABQ. They're going to be inspiring our city here in an upcoming event. So, excited to learn more about them.
Love to talk about this. Yeah.
And all things Albuquerque. And then obviously stay tuned at the end of the show. It's everybody's favorite Skip's Tips.
So let's talk. What did you do this weekend?
Oh man, so we have a new property coming on the market here in Mariposa, which we've always talked about, being a local. Mariposa is this gorgeous neighborhood, but it's built in the far northwest corner of Rio Rancho. Long story short, biggest mistake I ever made in real estate was firing my sign guy, because this weekend I became my sign installer. So I had to lug all the equipment out to Mariposa and then started installing the sign. There's some great footage of it, but installing the sign, and I've never done it before. So
what do you mean installing a sign?
Yeah, exactly.
For the viewers out
sign.
there.
A sale sign. There's a for sale sign that goes in front of the house if you've never sold your house before. But I was the guy that installed it.
You hired a guy just to do that?
Yeah. What do you think, I'm poor? No, of course I did. And so this was my first time doing it, and I was pouring sweat, and then I had to go into the house and do a whole meeting with the family. Anyway, long story short, I did send that video to Mark, which would be funny to look at this point. But either way, we can continue.
Mark, cue up that sign that I guess takes a personnel to put in.
Not a big deal.
Mark's dead.
It's on my Instagram. Go ahead.
R.I.P. Mark as a producer.
But either way, Mark's smoking blunts back there. So new listing. So that was kind of a big thing. But I wanted to talk about a current event that's popped up here in Albuquerque. So one of the things we always like to touch on is why Albuquerque, right? So Albuquerque ranked 10th in CNBC's list of best places for business and career. So CNBC ranked Albuquerque 10th in its list of best places for business and careers in 2023. Ranking is based on factors such as job growth, quality of life, cost of living. Albuquerque's strong economy and its location near federal research labs and university were cited as reasons for the high ranking.
The reason why I like you giving these facts is everyone has what I would call antiquated trivia about Albuquerque. So what we do is we take something jargon in 2017, highest crime rate ever. Way too late, Mark.
Mark, you are just, there goes our daytime.
There's a crime that he actually has to hire somebody to do this. The crime about all his flyaways. Get him some hairspray. Okay, we're still going.
Mark, dude, this is where our daytime Emmy goes.
We're losing viewers by the second. Okay. Well, there you go. Okay. Well.
So Albuquerque.
So anyways, the facts and trivia associated with Albuquerque, I feel like we're on the incline, and everyone kind of harbors and files away the worst statistics we ever had, and go, Albuquerque's this and this, and I'm like, there's new facts about Albuquerque every single year, and I'm glad you're spitting them out. I do think we have the infrastructure. I do think there needs to be some reports about the new jobs that Netflix and the surrounding areas have imported job-wise, and this is reflective of it. So good. I'm glad CNBC does something like that. I wish something locally would promote that and say, hey, we've turned the corner, because I think people like to rag on the town while you're living in it, and I love it here. So.
Well, that's the whole goal of the UABQ platform, is to kind of get these fun facts out there and really grow some pride in our city And I think that's what our guests, coming up in the next segment are going to be talking about, inspiring our city and coming together to make a difference and, kind of give us a rebirth in how everybody feels here about it.
Yeah, this is pretty much the epitome of what I like to call civic duty. So we'll touch on that. This is a great segue to the Mortgage Minute, right?
Jump into it.
Oh, our Mortgage Minute here. So I wanted to talk about your choices when you get a mortgage. Out there is a mortgage banker. Bank of Albuquerque, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, boo. We have mortgage brokers. Mortgage broker has access to all the corresponding banks, and so you can go up to like 35 lenders and see who's got the best scenario for you. Or if you believe in unicorns, there's someone that is both, like myself. So I'm a mortgage broker and banker. So I have a product which I can sell loans to Fannie Mae, to VA, and we call that warehouse lending, where we have up to $3 million to lend, and then we sell them off directly to government entities, Fannie Mae and VA, and so we get paid directly from them. I also have a broker accessibility to where I can find banks that might have your particular scenario and get you the lowest rates. So generally speaking, though, there's only mortgage brokers and mortgage bankers. If you're lucky enough to find a person that does both, really hang on to them. That's your Mortgage Minute.
Let's all hang on dearly to Grant. You are a treasure. I'll tell you what, here's why you're going to want to stay tuned. David Meyers and Larry Espinoza of Imagine ABQ are going to be inspiring our city. And then obviously we'll jump into everybody's favorite. I don't even know. I'll introduce it. It's
Marriage saving
Skip's Tips.
Efficiency.
So
Save
stay
on your
tuned.
utilities.
This is all about you, ABQ.
We're back.
Welcome back to UABQ. I'm Skip Adams, owner of Sold by Skip Real Estate Brokerage here in Albuquerque.
Grant Harvey, Vision Mortgage, home loan expert.
And we're joined by David Meyers and Larry Espinoza of Imagine ABQ, a couple of Albuquerque boys making a difference and inspiring our city. So David and Larry, welcome to the show, man. It's great to have you guys on here, looking fresh, in the uniforms. But both of you guys are Albuquerque kids, born and raised. Talk a little bit about, Larry, you grew up here.
Yeah.
Give us some hot takes on Albuquerque as somebody that's grown up here.
Wow. Definitely a lot of change. A lot of change for more better than good, in my mind. I grew up in the heart of downtown, Martineztown. Have only ever lived out of my neighborhood for 6 months, so I've seen downtown go through a complete kind of boom and now going through this weird kind of change and starting to see it kind of come back, build back up, and really develop as the rest of the city develops. So
let me
it's
reaffirm this.
interesting.
You grew up there and now reside there.
Correct.
That's great.
That's awesome.
I like that he stayed. He's back. Yeah.
I bought the house 2 doors down from my parents. That was my great aunt's, we until recently we've talked about moving, but now trying to figure out that it's difficult.
I know a guy.
A team.
Hey, was you a mortgage banker and broker?
But I think that's great. I mean, born and raised here, lived here, and now small business owner here in town. And we'll talk a little bit about what it's like running business here in Albuquerque. But David, I mean, you were born here and then had a chance to move away. And you, much like me and Grant a little bit too, got to sample a bunch of different towns across the country.
Yeah.
And what the hell, man? How'd you end up back at Albuquerque?
You know how it is. You're born and raised a certain place. You resent it. This place sucks, and you romanticize in your head of all the other places that are so much better, right? And so, I was born in the international district, as it were. I still live in the southeast to this day, and couldn't wait to get out of here. So when I was able to do it, I started a band and traveled the country, and we went everywhere that I thought was so much better than here, and realized real quick that Albuquerque is a phenomenal place, absolutely phenomenal place. And I say that because I'm very, very proud of this city, but I also don't want everyone to know this little secret that we have. Like, keep the Californians there, keep the Texans there. Like, this is our own little thing.
Yeah, let's keep the Texans there for sure.
Yeah, just build the wall.
But I genuinely love this city. Genuinely, it's such a remarkable, enchanting place. You know, and I'm born and raised, obviously, but I've bought in. 100%.
That's amazing that you're back. Let me do two things. So let's talk about the Martinez. Are the families? Is there any property exchange really, or the families kept it within themselves in Martinez Town?
Still a lot of families
Okay.
that have initially started
Yeah.
it there.
Okay.
So interesting story. The Martinezes and my mom's family, the Estradas, were my great grandfather was killed in the coal mine in Madrid, New Mexico, as well as the Martinezes.
Or
And-
Madrid, as it were.
Yeah, and they came in and settled into what became Martinez Town.
Okay.
So there was more of them. They were on one end of the street. We were on the other end of the
Okay.
street. I'm desperately trying to accumulate.
Change it to Estrada Town.
No, Espinozaville.
That's been awesome.
So, but you know, the Martinezes are great people. They've helped really build that community. There's a couple of family members that have been deep within the city and do lots of cool things for that area. And so I'm proud to be part of it. And it's really been eye-opening to kind of see the history and see the change. You know, there used to be a street called Grand. That's now Dr. Martin Luther King. From St. Joseph's Hospital to Loveless, just seeing all the things that have kind of grown and really expanded and said, hey, you know what, this place is cool. Yeah, to be honest, I had the opportunity to get out of here and go play soccer, and I couldn't leave here.
Great.
Yeah.
What and your neck? Why did you choose the southeast?
I don't know. Familiarity?
Yeah.
You
So
know-
your parents had a house where about?
So I was born and raised at 901 Kentucky.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we ended up moving to a street on McKnight off of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And then lived there for years. And then my wife and I and my family bought a house just south of Central on Montebo. And, you know, I love it.
Yeah.
No, it's a good spot, and I think it's one of the last places you can find new construction is kind of in that little pocket that you were talking about at the end of Wantabo. And I think growing up in high school, that was all Mesa, and so that
Totally.
was
Absolutely.
guilty. We would drive our cars out there and throw Mesa parties, lots of late night bonfires. out there, but-
100%.
That's amazing. So that's a segue into let's talk about the initiative you guys have provided.
Imagine ABQ. So the website's great. I mean, it has some information about Imagine ABQ, and the goal is to just be inspiring our city, organically. So talk a little bit about how you guys got started. I know, Larry, this was your brainchild.
No, it's very interesting because a couple of different times in my life have I met people that have very similar or the same idea as I do. This happens to be one of them. I had been speaking to a gentleman who, by the name of Charles Ashley, who used to be the Economic Development Director for the city of Albuquerque, a good friend of both of ours, telling him kind of something that I wanted to do. I had just started as Director of Operations with Red Shovel, and I wanted to do something more. The owner of the company's bought all in. He's like, whatever you need. And so I said, how do I do this? And he had been sharing the same vision with Charles as well, and Charles is like, you guys got to meet. And really, the rest is history. That was a year and a half ago.
Year and a half ago. So now collectively, how many members do you think you have? And not affiliates, but how many?
We have a good core, probably about 8 folks.
Yeah.
And we're huge believers in surrounding yourself with people who are better and smarter than you.
Yeah.
We've absolutely done that. And I mean, this whole initiative is motivated by a genuine love of this city, right? There's no agenda behind this. There's nothing other than we love this place. This place is so thick and rich and pregnant with history and culture and dynamics, and the food is incredible and the people are amazing. It's a slow pace of life. You said it earlier, relatively no traffic, the views for days, mountains, like it's a magical place. And I want to honor that. I want to cherish that and protect that and give that to my children, you know?
I think that's one thing that we all know here as locals and growing up here is like, dude, this is a cool spot to be.
Totally.
When you get outside of Albuquerque, when you're in LA, all you know is Breaking Bad, or, you know, that place has a high rate of DWI, or, you know, a bunch of knuckleheads live there. I don't want to go there, high crime. So I think what you guys are doing is kind of organic grassroots, going out into the neighborhood, making a difference. What does that mean? Talk about some of the things that you do other than just run a website. I mean, you guys are in the streets.
So one of the things, I did a talk the other day with some, you know, movers and shakers in the city. I'm a blue collar guy, like I'm a firefighter. I didn't graduate college or anything like that, but I had this really cool opportunity. And I framed my talk with, I asked them, I said, you ever been to a rough part of town? And they said, oh yes, we've been there, yeah. I said, where is it? And they all pointed to the same direction, right? I said, okay, we're all familiar with it. How did you feel? Were you scared? Did you lock your door? Hey, no eye contact when we drive through this intersection, blah, 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 blah. And then I asked them, but have you also ever taken the tram up to the top of the crest at sunset? And then you looked out on your city and you thought, my God, this place is gorgeous. It's the same city. It's all of it, right? It's a big, Albuquerque is what, the 32nd largest city in the country, so we obviously have major metropolitan issues, but our brilliance is that we're so interconnected. Everybody knows everybody. Yeah. So we can affect more change than we realize. We just need to let people know that, right? But if you don't like what you see, change your perspective, right? You had an interesting encounter in the war zone, as we call it, right? But then you take the trip to the top of the mountain, and you're like, man, this place is beautiful. Right. It's the same city, which is like a microcosm of us, or vice versa. Like we have that innate ability to do bad or to do good. Right? If you don't like what you see, change your perspective. And every single person in this city, like I'm so sick of like, man, I wish somebody would do something about that. Man, I wish someone would help that guy. Right. You have that ability, right? And so the idea behind this is, yes, we're going to clean up a city on September 30th, but it's bigger than that. I want to inspire an entire city. Like literally, can you imagine everyone out on the same day, heading the same direction, doing something productive for their neighbor, loving on their community? That is power. And I say this all the time, there's only beautiful repercussions from something like that. I talk about this at the rate of being vulnerable. Like I suffer from really bad depression and anxiety. And I very much can go into my room and turn the light off and hold myself up and isolate, right? But there's nothing that gets me out of my head faster than service for others. Yeah. It is so therapeutic, it's so cathartic, it's healing, and that's what our society needs. If we want to fix societal ills, we need societal remedies. Yeah.
I think that's great, and we were talking before the show. I watched an amazing Bobby Kennedy series, and what there was an emphasis on, if you want to make change locally. You absolutely can. If you go, oh man, we'll never be able to change national policy. Where are we really interested in our neighborhoods, in our cities, and how can you not get behind something that will be even in a self-serving way improving your neighborhood? Mm-hmm. And I think we've all kind of gone away into retreating and not talking to people and hiding behind our doors, and that's not really what a neighborhood is for. And if you wanted a ranch, that works perfect, but this behooves you to interact with your neighbors and to clean it up and have a communal or have a culture amongst your neighborhood, and that is the quickest way to make a difference. I applaud your efforts because that's something everyone can stand behind. You don't have anything to gain by this. The neighborhoods have everything to gain. Totally. Personally, it's just a good charitable way to spend your time.
Yeah, we looked at it and we're not asking for $1 million. We're not asking you to pick up 1,000 pounds of trash. If you were to take the average person to figure out to pick up one bag of trash, it would probably take you about half an hour. Yeah. In a litter-ridden area. Yeah. Okay. Now, 2 bags of trash. Basically, I'm asking for an hour of your time. Yeah. Okay, what is an hour of your time worth? That's the get for us, But now, if we're able to expand that by the thousands of people that live, close to 1 million people that live here in Albuquerque, what does that really do? Right. And more importantly than that, now we're asking things. You're a realtor, you're a broker. How many times do you see people move in and all of the neighbors come over and like, hey,
Right. It lets
Skip,
them
nice to meet you. How are you?
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that we ask for is go and introduce yourself to your neighbor.
Yeah.
Because if you introduce yourself to your neighbor and then you see something that doesn't necessarily look right and you know that that's Skip's house, you're more likely to call and say, hey, there's something going on over here. I don't really know. Can you send a unit over here because someone's looking into Skip's windows?
I think it's funny. We all have those neighborhood watch signs in here, and we know that's just pageantry, right? And no one's, unless they're breaking in your house, everyone's all, oh, not my problem. No one's breaking into my car, taking my car stereo. I think it's always like, just don't break into my house, and I think that lends itself well to that. Let's talk about how we get involved. September 30th, and there's a website, and if we could maybe cue that screen again, or the website, Mark.
There you go.
So let's talk about what takes place for respective neighborhoods and how is it organized? How does everyone come about?
The big thing that we're encouraging people, because we're not going to say, hey, let's all meet at one park and then disperse from there. That's an organizational disaster.
Traffic nightmare.
Yeah. So we're encouraging people, start where your feet are. Okay? Start in your neighborhood. You know the needs of your neighborhood better than I do. Start there. Start at your place of business. How about you just police your own block, right? That way the entirety of the city gets covered, right? And so we've strategically placed 4 fire stations around the city. So Station 20, Station 5, Station 7, and Station 18. So that's northeast, southeast, northwest, southwest. And so people without the means can go to the stations on the day of, pick up supplies, gloves, bags, grabbers, whatever, and join us in the effort, right? Because I don't want this to be like at the end of the day, hey, look what the fire department did for us. Hey, look what Red Shovel did for us. I want it to be this all-encompassing, look what we did.
Yeah.
We did this,
Yeah.
right? And then we potentially have a celebration at the end of the day at the United game, and it can just be this really big amalgamation of we did this. This is a city-led effort and grassroots kind of thing. And so there's some incentive. You bring your 2 bags of trash, and here you go. Here's some prizes you win.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So let's talk about who we're partnered with. I say we because I'm part of this.
Yeah.
Who's in?
You guys had talked
affiliates and helping.
Yeah, you guys had talked about the United Fire Department.
It's crazy. The list is growing daily.
Yeah.
Obviously, Dave's managed to go out, and he's AFR. That's who he's with. APD.
Just to be clear, they'll be on site, right? They'll be watching and participating.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And
different businesses.
Yeah, BCSO, Bernalillo County
Wonderful.
Fire, New Mexico United, Sam's Club,
Bubba's.
Bubba's 33. We have Green Summit Landscaping as well. We have I tied down Brightview Landscaping as well. We've now got a bunch of different businesses. We have New Mexico Bank and Trust with some RS-21 that is going to police Gold Street down here and kind of move over towards the central area. It's really now starting to become a coordinated effort where we have different people in different areas of town using expertise. So, one of the goals right now is we have Green Summit that we're going to ask them to go over down by the National Hispanic Cultural Center. And when people that want to help collect along the Bosque, they can go, and they're dealing with people from Green Summit that they do landscaping for a business. They understand, they know what it needs. Hey, be careful of that. No, we'll take care of that, whatever. And then I've got Brightview that I'm going to put on the north side of the Bosque. So now, and haven't quite figured out if I'm going to have another company in the middle to help break everything up. But we've got people that say, hey, my neighborhood's good. So, hey, help come clean the Bosque.
Yeah.
We've got a few radio stations that are like, we're all in. We're going to be doing remotes that day.
Okay,
and
so let's
like
do logistics. September 30th, what time does this start?
9 a.m.
9 a.m. And so where would someone, if they said, hey, I want to meet, they go to the fire station and start off there?
Yep.
And get their supplies?
Yep.
Do they then retreat back, or does someone say, hey, well, so from this quadrant, here's the help we need? What do you assign people to certain areas? Right.
You can go to the Imagine ABQ website,
okay,
and you can sign up if you want to participate in a different area.
Okay.
Here's the beautiful thing. Yeah, you can go and get 2 bags of trash or however many bags you want and collect all those. There's not as much trash there that you can't put in your own receptacle.
Yeah.
So you just dump it in and it comes regular trash day and it gets taken away.
Okay.
Perfect. Or if we do have some people that they don't have that means, they live in an apartment or they do something like that. Hey, you can come back to the fire stations and drop it
off at the
drop
end.
it back off. We're going to have collection sites there,
wonderful.
and we've got a couple of other collection sites that we're working on.
Okay.
So the same sites that you get your supplies,
Yeah.
drop it all off at the end of the
This
day.
will be the first annual, right? This is
Second.
the first. Second. Okay. Well, so how many signed up last year and showed up, and what do you anticipate
So
this?
last year was a crapshoot because we're like, is this going to work? This is a crazy idea, and that's the thing too. You have to make a big idea achievable, reachable, attainable. So it's not like we're asking people, hey, I need you out there for 12 hours. Can you do that?
I
Nobody's
think the
going to do
awareness
that.
is big, right? I mean,
Totally.
the idea behind this is bigger than that day. It's
Right.
not. It's
Absolutely.
bigger than September 30th.
Absolutely.
It's creating a culture. I would love to see, and I would like to follow up on this. You better sign up.
I mean,
too.
I'll be live tweeting. I'll take my daughters out. I think
It's
it'll be
wonderful.
a great
It's a
experience.
wonderful thing for him. I don't have any kids. I have Pomeranians that would help out if they could. But I think it's great to show your kids, like, look at this. It would be a great way to be born into something. That would be awesome.
That was one of the things that we did. We encouraged everybody. So to answer your question, we had 2,800 volunteers around the city.
Wonderful.
18,000 pounds of trash we picked up.
Yeah.
And we said, all we ask is that you use the hashtag ImagineABQ so we can follow your stories.
That's great.
Not for any credit. Like, nobody's doing
No,
this
to catch on.
notoriety and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that. But if we can follow that rabbit hole,
Yeah.
be like, look what they did, look what they did. And it was so cool. And again, it was just this really beautiful organic thing. And it worked out. Like, it worked out.
That's great. That's great.
This year we want you to wear red. Wear
Okay.
red.
Yeah, wear red.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even though I'm a Crip, I will wear red. And that's part of being part of a neighborhood, right?
Depends on what.
Don't
neighborhood
join a
you're in.
gang just to be part of your neighborhood, unless you clean up as a gang. Thank you guys for coming on. I think this is a great culture. I do like the fact that this would be something that I could get behind trending. I hate the word trending, but this would be great for trending. I mean, that's this kind
Well,
of
we'll light a
attitude.
fire under it. We're happy to help out with media as best we can as well. Make sure that you guys are, being promoted, local news as well, and our channel as well. Again, we're going to have links to all of your organizations
Awesome.
on our website. And,
Thank you for doing this too. I mean, we all appreciate it. It's synergetic, right? So that's a wonderful initiative.
Totally,
you guys
totally.
took under. I'm totally behind this.
Yeah, I mean, money makes the world go round. We take money for supplies. It all goes to supplies and or yard sponsorships, which is something we can touch on at another point. But most of it is just getting the word out
Yeah.
and encouraging people, hey, just get out for an hour, 2 hours,
Yeah.
and just do what you can. Many hands make light work, and that's the idea.
Right. Yeah, that's good peer pressure.
That's fantastic. Great story. Thank you guys for for
Thanks.
being on the show. And like I
Thank
said,
you
we'll
guys.
have links to your foundation.
I appreciate y'all's energy. It's fun. It's
Oh, thank you.
Jovial.
Hey, spread the word. We have our own hashtag. If you know.
Yeah, we like to go trending ourselves so we get this off the ground.
Coming up in the next segment, here's why you're going to want to stay tuned. I don't even have to tell you, but I'm going to tell you. It's time for Skip's Tips. Stay tuned.
And we're back to our last segment of UABQ. Thank you, Imagine Albuquerque and Larry and David for coming on the show. Great initiative. We are our last portion, Skip's Tips, sponsored by Little Debbie's. Enjoy. I know I will.
That's right, it Skip's Tips. Anything that saves us time, makes us more money, allows us to have more fun in real estate or real life. Homes are flying off the shelf. Don't believe the hype. 3 mistakes that home sellers are making in this market. Number 1, pricing their home too high, thinking it won't matter, everything's gonna sell regardless. Well, higher home prices leads to price declines, longer days on market, and buyers smelling blood in the water. Number 2, not making the necessary repairs up front. Buyers will pay a premium for homes that are move-in ready, and they'll be willing to bid with confidence, knowing that the home is not going to have any issues. And the third thing, not staging your home. Homes that are vacant or not staged professionally or are cluttered tend to have higher days on market and sell for a lot less. So don't believe the hype, avoid those 3 mistakes, and you'll be able to sell your home for top dollar. Share this with a friend and tell them Skip said so. Fuck, that was
And that does it for our show. Thank you for coming on, David.
This is you. 82.
Roll credit.